Welcome to Urban Legends, and in tonight's video, we're exploring one of the darkest stories to ever emerge from Japan. What starts as a simple pop-up message ends in tragedy. This is the chilling story of the Red Room. A teenage boy is sitting alone in his room late at night, scrolling through websites and forums while the only light in the room comes from the glow of his computer screen. He clicks through random links, watching videos and reading posts, when suddenly a pop-up appears on the screen. The window is bright red, with black letters that ask a simple question. Do you like the Red Room? At first, he thinks it's just an ordinary advertisement or a prank, so he tries to close it, clicking the X multiple times. Each time he clicks, the window disappears briefly but then immediately returns. Restarting the computer does not make the pop-up go away, and the same red window reappears as soon as the device powers back on, exactly as it was before. After a few minutes, the pop-up begins to change in a way that makes the boy uneasy. The red window starts displaying a list of names, all of people who allegedly encountered the same message before him. Each name is said to belong to someone who was later found dead in their room, with the walls completely painted red. The boy notices that the window seems almost alive, because sometimes it displays his own name or addresses him directly. It feels as though the pop-up knows who he is, where he lives, and that he is sitting alone in his room. The more he tries to ignore it, the more persistent it becomes, appearing every time he moves the mouse or attempts to switch to a different program. As the night goes on, he grows more and more frightened, realizing that the pop-up is not just a random glitch or an ordinary online prank. The list of names continues to expand, and the red window dominates the screen, blocking him from doing anything else on his computer. Every time he thinks about closing the device completely or leaving the room, the pop-up seems to follow him. If he turns away for even a moment, when he looks back at the screen, the window is there again, still red, still asking the same question, still showing the names of people who came before him. Hours pass, and he cannot stop staring at the screen. The red of the pop-up is so bright that it reflects off the walls of his room, making the darkness feel even heavier. The question repeats over and over, and the list of names scrolls slowly down the window, sometimes pausing on a single name as if emphasizing it. The boy feels trapped in his chair, unable to close the window or even look away without a sense of panic. Every time he moves, the pop-up returns immediately, and he notices that the pattern of names begins to include details that seem personal, references he cannot explain, as if the window is learning about him while he watches it. By the early morning, he has not slept, and the red window is still open. The pop-up never changes its question, never leaves, and continues to display the names of past victims while occasionally showing his own. There is no way to interact with it or respond safely. The room is silent except for the hum of the computer, and the boy realizes that the window is no longer just on the screen. It feels as if it is present in the room with him, a shadow of the list of names that seems to follow him even when he closes his eyes. Time becomes distorted as he sits frozen in his chair, staring at the red window, feeling more and more aware that the pop-up is not ordinary, that it is something that refuses to be ignored, and that every name on the list represents someone who faced the same experience and could not escape. Some hours later, he is found unresponsive by a family member, and the walls in his room are bright red. As with most urban legends that live online, the Red Room didn't stay in one form for long. People began retelling it in different ways, sometimes changing the setting or changing the rules, but always keeping that same underlying fear that the internet itself can reach out and punish you. One of the earliest variations moved away from the simple pop-up idea and turned the Red Room into a kind of forbidden website. In this version, people claimed it existed somewhere on the dark web. Those who managed to access it said it would show a red door, or a live chat window, or even a stream where the viewer was no longer just watching, but being watched. It became less about a virus or a pop-up, and more about the feeling that you'd stumbled onto something you were never meant to see. Some retellings gave the Red Room a supernatural twist. Instead of a website, it was a cursed video file or an image, something that would infect your computer and spread like a haunting. In those stories, the Red Room followed its victims, appearing again and again no matter what device they used. It was described as a kind of digital ghost story, where the internet itself becomes the haunted house. Then there are the creepypasta versions, which blended the legend with other early 2000s horror tropes, such as hidden pop-ups that talk directly to you, or messages that appear in your system files as if the computer is alive. Some writers imagine that the Red Room was run by an underground group that punished people for their online behavior, turning the story into a moral warning about digital voyeurism and guilt. Others leaned into realism, creating fake forum posts and chat logs that described first-hand experiences of finding the site, adding screenshots or timestamps to make it feel authentic. The Red Room legend is believed to have started in Japan sometime in the late 1990s or early 2000s, when internet use and online forums were becoming part of everyday life. One of the earliest known versions appeared as a flash animation that circulated on sites like 2chan, an anonymous message board known for sharing strange or experimental web content. This short animation spread quickly among horror fans and early internet users because it felt so real and personal. At the time, people were still getting used to how the internet worked, and pop-ups, viruses, and mysterious links were common and confusing. The idea that a simple website could reach out and harm you through your own computer played directly into those fears. It mixed technology with superstition in a way that felt both modern and ancient, turning a basic web interaction into a digital ghost story. The name Red Room may come from a mix of influences. In Japanese horror, the color red often represents death or the supernatural, and rooms are intimate spaces, a place where you're supposed to feel safe. Turning that private space into a trap gives the legend extra impact. Some fans and writers have also pointed out that it shares themes with older ghost stories and urban myths, where a cursed object or message brings misfortune to anyone who encounters it. The difference is that this curse travels through the internet instead of through an old book, a videotape, or a haunted location. Over time, the story spread beyond Japan and picked up new details as people retold it online. Some versions claim that the pop-up appears on hidden websites, while others say it targets people who search for it out of curiosity. These variations help the Red Room legend move from a local internet rumor to an international myth. After looking at how the Red Room legend spread across early internet spaces, it's helpful to talk about why this story stuck with people for so long. The Red Room takes the everyday experience of seeing a pop-up emerge on your screen and pushes it into something personal and threatening. It plays on the fear that the internet isn't just a tool we use, but something that can watch us, track us, or even reach into our lives without warning. That fear of losing control, especially to something anonymous and technological, is what gives the legend its staying power. It feels like a digital version of a ghost story, except the ghost is inside your computer. As the internet changed, the legend followed. It showed up in horror games, old screamer videos, and early ARGs, becoming shorthand for the idea of a cursed or dangerous website. Even people who never saw the original Flash animation still absorbed the concept of some creepy page that appears on its own and seals your fate. Over the years, versions of it resurfaced in memes, creepypasta retellings, and short-form horror content, each one slightly updated for whatever platform was popular at the time. The myth kept evolving because the internet itself kept evolving. In the early 2000s, when everything online felt chaotic and unfamiliar, the idea of stumbling across a page like this seemed almost believable. During the deep web panic era, the story shifted again, getting mixed into rumors about hidden sites and mysterious live streams. Now it's passed around on TikTok and YouTube, usually stripped down to its scariest elements, but still recognizable as the same old myth. And when you step back, the reality is simple. The Red Room can't function the way the stories claim. A website can't instantly identify you or hunt you down, and the whole pop-up that dooms you idea is more folklore than fact. The legend works because it uses technology as a stand-in for the unknown, turning ordinary online experiences into something ominous. In the end, it's less about a real threat and more about how the internet naturally creates its own urban legends, stories shaped by fear, mystery, and the way we try to make sense of a world that's constantly shifting around us.